So I wanted to talk about if being an incel is a choice, right? Because a lot of people will say, "Oh, bro, you know, it's not, it's a choice, right? You just choose to be negative, right, bro? It's like if you just stopped being negative, women would like you, right? The reason women don't like you is because you're so negative, right? But obviously that's not true, right? So I just simply asked Chat GPT, do men choose to be incels or are they victims of circumstance? And a lot of people will get triggered by that, right? Because, like I said, people believe you have so much more agency in life than you really do. And I actually do wish I asked it something else. Maybe I will if the video runs short, and I'll just do something off the fly and ask it to see what it says. Short answer: most men do not choose to be incels. No shit, Sherlock. What happens after prolonged rejection does involve choices. Both things can be true at once. Um, what men don't choose. Men don't choose their face, height, race, genetics. They don't choose their early social treatment. They don't choose whether girls show interest in them during formative years. They don't choose if they're ignored, mocked, invisible while others date easily. If a guy reaches adulthood with zero romantic validation, that is almost always circumstance, not laziness, not moral failure. And that's what people love to say, right? Oh, bro, just ask girls out, right, bro? As if it just you they don't understand that if you ask a girl out who's not interested in you, it does nothing, right? If you ask people who you already know don't want to buy your product to buy your product, what is the point in doing that, right? If you already know it won't get you anywhere. It's more so just a feel good coping mechanism for some people, right? It's like, oh, bro, I tried, right? But what is the point of trying if you know it'll fail? Well, what's if you say, oh yeah, bro, I can fly, and then you keep on jumping off roofs and you keep on falling and breaking your bones? You say, oh, well, at least I tried, bro. It's the same thing. It's a delusion. It honestly is delusional. And yeah, so repeated rejection, no feedback, no learning, no confidence. That chain is structural, not a personal choice. So when people say, just choose to be confident, bro, they're ignoring reality. I think later it does go into the just world fallacy thing. And, that's what it is. People like to think, oh, yeah, bro, if you're a good guy, you'll just get girls. And if you can't, that means you're a bad person. Women can sense your personality, bro. So number two, where choice does come in later. What is the choice? Adopting an identity built around hopelessness, deciding nothing can ever change, turning pain into bitterness towards women as a group, consuming content that reinforces despair 24/7. That's I think some of these are they're all kind of coping mechanisms, right? So obviously, I understand the turning pain into bitterness towards women. That's definitely the sour grapes cope, right? Where well, the story about what is it, like Aesop's fable about the fox and the sour grapes, right? It's like, well, they were sour anyways. I didn't want them. It's like MGTOW guys, right? It's just like MGTOW guys coping. Everyone knows the MGTOWs don't really exist. They're just MSTOWs most of the time. Then consuming content, right? Well, you know, I'm not gonna. Some people will argue that this is content that reinforces despair, and I guess since it's in my best interest that you keep on watching, I will definitely argue and say that's not a bad thing at all. I actually would appreciate it if you decided to forego all of your life's responsibilities and watched my videos 24/7 and gave them a like, right? What is a choice? Adopting an identity built around hopelessness. To be honest, right, I did on the last channel, I'll probably do it again, where it is like the being undesirable to women is my personality, right? It's like how some people put their self-worth and identity into what they do for a living, right? My self-identity and that kind of stuff is almost being undesirable to women, just because it's like an everyday part of life. Let's see. This part usually though happens after years of rejection, not before. Important distinction. Involuntary. Being an incel equals circumstance. Incel ideology, coping strategy that can become self-sabotaging. Many men fall into it because it explains their pain, not because they hate women. I mean, the thing is, a lot of normies, will always confuse the two, right? It's like, or they'll try to make up their own narrative somehow. It's like, oh, that these guys are negative. That's why they can't get women. They're putting the chicken before the egg, and or thinking, oh, all these copes, right? They're just gaslighting, to be honest. Is what I'm trying to say, and just not thinking. Why people get this wrong? Society prefers simple stories. He's single because he's toxic. If women don't like him, something must be wrong with him. I mean, to an extent, that is kind of true. Dating is fair, so failure equals personal flaw. Admitting that dating is uneven, looks biased, and brutal for some men makes people uncomfortable, especially women who benefit from selection power and men who succeeded early. So blame replaces empathy. So yeah, it's not even. I mean, yeah, it's like it's like the case where people, certain demographics will support certain politicians or certain policies, and say that it's a good thing, right? Or it's actually helpful, right? Because it benefits, because they are the fact that it benefits like another group is secondary. The main reason they're saying, oh yeah, this is a good policy, or this guy's he's a good politician or whatever, or like, oh yeah, she's a great leader or whatever, right? Is because what they're doing benefits them, right? They're a primary benefiter, right? That's the case for women. Why would like, think about it. If you were a woman, why would you want to lose that power, right? It's like, well, let's actually be real, right? It's like, because you, to be honest, right? Like, if I were a woman, like, sure, I wouldn't want the dynamics to switch, right? Because who doesn't love to have power, right? That's just human nature, to want to be in control and have agency of your situation, right? I mean, like, I would love to have agency over my desirability over women, right? But that's not the case, right? You're born with what you're born, and it is what it is. But like that's the thing. It's like women have the power to choose, right? Ultimately, they are the deciders of everything, right? Like there's the cope, right? That men are the gatekeepers of relationships, right? As if a woman, once you're in a relationship with a woman, it's all the power's on you. Obviously, that's not true, though, right? Just just look at my life example, right? I had a girl that actually wanted to get into a relationship with me, right? But then when we did, right? When because I asked her, I was like, oh, what? You actually want to be my girlfriend? And she's like, yes, right? Very enthusiastic or whatever, and answer like that kind of answers. And so, but when push comes to shove, and we were actually in a relationship, not that people actually will consider it a real relationship, because it was basically mostly all online, which is, to be honest, is the only kind of relationship I can ever actually truly have, because of it's just the way it is. When you're so undesirable that the only relationships you can have are online, it's over. But yeah, so basically TLDR, we were in a relationship, and then she broke it off because she didn't want to be in one. Right, so it's like saying men are like the gatekeepers or have some power is like a lie too. It's like women always have it because, like I said in the other video, it's like if she has social media, if she has access to the internet, not even just social media, the internet, it's like she's got so many choices, right? Like she can choose for, it's like, oh, you're not good enough in this way? Well, this guy is, and I can find them so easily, right? It's like the options are endless. It's like an endless buffet of just better options. It's like, how can you compete? So it's like, even if you think, oh yeah, bro, I mog all the guys in this aspect. Well, guess what? She can go find. If she feels like she wants a guy that mogs in a different way, and you don't mog in that way, then it's over, bro. Or even worse, if you think you mog all the guys in a one way, she can go and find the guy that mogs even you. It's like the whole example of like you're like 6'3", and then you're like, for some reason you're like, I don't even know, in a country where all other guys are like 5'7", 5'8" at the most. She decides to, and you're, like I said, 6'2", so you like totally mog the guys. She may, I don't know, for some reason feel like she wants an even taller guy one day, and boom, internet, she finds a 6'5" guy. Oh, it's over, bro. Or even if you're 6'5", if you're that 6'5" guy, she wants a 6'6" guy. It's over, bro. It's like, because on the internet, there's no shortage of guys who are gonna be like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", whatever. She can find a 7-foot motherfucker if she really wants to, dude. It's like, unless you're the world's tallest man, you will never be safe, right? It's brutal. And that applies for everything. And even then, it's like, you can be, I don't even know if Jeff Bezos is the richest man alive or something, like, or, but he's rich enough, right? But even he got mogged by that one taller celebrity. So it's like, even, you can be this 7-foot guy, and she feels like, oh, I don't really care about height today, right? I just need him to be taller than me or whatever. At least, I don't know, at least 6'2". But now I want a guy with a big D. Boom, she can find a guy like that, right? It's fucking over, bro. Always a better guy. It's like, it's brutal. The uncomfortable truth. Some men do everything right, are decent, non-hostile, functional adults, and still never get chosen. That doesn't mean dating is over or that change is impossible, but it does mean the system failed them first, and pretending otherwise is dishonest. Normies will always try to find some way to, say, oh yeah, bro, it's just your fault, right? When, it's out of your control, right? You don't have agency over a lot of things in life. It just is what it is. Yeah, it is pretty brutal. One grounding reality, not motivational flesh. You didn't choose your starting position. And a lot of people do not like that, right? They, for some reason, think you have complete agency over your life. They don't think that, hey, you didn't choose your starting genetics, right? You didn't choose that your genetic ceiling can only go oh so high. If your genetic ceiling can't even meet the um, minimum threshold, then it's over. What can you do, right? If your best is not even good enough to meet the bare minimum, what are you going to do? Like, sure, maybe it doesn't meet the bare minimum in your location, but like I said, you didn't choose your starting position either, right? You didn't choose. Oh yeah, it's like, you didn't choose to be born in a country where your genetic ceiling wouldn't meet the bare minimum, right? It's like, who would choose that, right? It's like, these people don't really think about it. But staying frozen in a single explanation forever is a choice. Not because you're weak, but because pain narrows perspective. Understanding this isn't about fixing yourself for a woman, it's about not letting rejection turn into an identity that cages you. Too bad it's already my identity. Women, what was it? Being a kissless, hugless, handholdless virgin is my identity. Bottom line, men don't choose to be incels. They choose, often unconsciously, how they interpret and live with prolonged rejection. Compassion is warranted, so is honesty. So do you agree with the fact that the bitter negative personality develops after being undesired, and not the reason incels are undesired? They develop the bad personality after already not being wanted. Yes, in many cases, that's exactly the order. For a lot of men, the timeline looks like this: early undesirability, invisibility, no flirting, no dates, no positive feedback, sometimes outright rejection or mockery, confusion and blame. They're told, just be yourself, bro. It'll happen. Just give it time. Or work on your personality, bro. But nothing changes. Chronic rejection with no corrective experiences. Meanwhile, they watch peers succeed effortlessly. This is where resentment, distrust, and hypervigilance start forming. Defensive personality change. Cynicism, bitterness, guardedness, anger, withdrawal, or fatalism develop as protective adaptations, not original traits. Oh, bro, but the reason you can't get women is because you're bitter. You must always have been bitter, right? You were born and came out of the womb bitter or negative. So, yes, bitter, negative personality is often an effect, not the cause. Ooh, who would have thought if you actually had critical thinking skills, right? Why this gets reversed in public narratives, people commit a just world fallacy, like I said earlier, right? If women don't want him, something must be wrong with him. And like I said, to some extent, that is actually true. I actually do believe that, but the way they make it, that something isn't wrong with you morally, right? It just something is wrong with you, and in a almost like in a social way. I don't. It's hard to explain. It's not like a moral judgment, like you're a bad person, but you are a subpar person, I guess is a good way. You are an objective biological failure, right? Because to be a biological success, you'd be able to pass down your genes, but you don't get the opportunity to do that. That logic assumes the correct personality existed before the rejection, or the current personality, not correct. In reality, the personality often changes because of years of social exclusion. It's similar to social anxiety developing after bullying, depression developing after long term isolation, distrust developing after repeated betrayal. And people never say this kind of stuff to those people, right? Because they'd have empathy towards them. But um, was it undesirable men, right, are the only minority group that is acceptable to hate on in public, right? We don't usually say those people were rejected because they were anxious or depressed, but with men and dating, people do. Important nuance. Two things can be true at once. The bitterness didn't cause the initial rejection, and once present, it can reinforce future rejection. Not that future acceptance is really that likely anyways, because the rejection happened for a reason, right? Because you were deemed subpar. That doesn't mean the man is bad or that women are evil or that the suffering is imaginary. It means feedback loop forms. Undesired, defensive personality, fewer opportunities, more confirmation. Breaking a loop is harder than just be positive, especially when there's never been proof that positivity is rewarded. The thing no one says out loud: if the same man had been desired early, had even one genuine relationship, had sexual romantic validation in his teens or early 20s, there's a very good chance that bad personality never develops. Whoa, what a surprise. Or develops far less intensely. That doesn't mean women owe anyone attraction. It means social experience shapes personality, not the other way around. And there some normies' minds will be blown, right? It's like, whoa, I never thought about it like that way, bro. But to be honest, they will still find a way. It's like, well, I don't care, just man up, bro, right? They'll say anything, right? Because it's basically, how my personality is to be undesirable to women. Their personality is to hate undesirable men. It's like it could be like, what is it? I don't even remember. Like incel tiers on Reddit where it's like other undesirable men who are with coping with the fact that they're also undesirable, right? Because it's like undesirable men hating other undesirable men, right? And except though the incel tier guys who actually take it seriously, right? It's like they're also, I don't even know. The point is, it's just weirdos, right? It's like for some reason these people have such a hard on for hating undesirable men. It's actually weirder than, when you really think about it, it's weirder than incels who hate women, because at least you can rationalize and somehow like come up with okay, that makes sense why they hate women, but it doesn't really make sense why these guys hate undesirable men, right? It's like they're actually weirder and more mentally ill, right? And that's saying something. Bottom line, I think is that the end. Because I think I asked it something else, but it doesn't really give me anything that interesting. Bottom line, your framing is not crazy, hateful, or delusional for many men. Undesired first, personality changes second. Then society rewrites the story backwards. So yeah, for some reason, people like the to have it the other way around, right? Because it fits their narrative. Honestly, that's the that's the real ass truth, right? It fits their narrative. So let's just keep on saying this and hope it sticks, basically, right? And eventually it does stick, and there you go. People believe it, and they assume it's true, and enough people believe it, and yeah, there you go. It's become the mainstream narrative that even though you're undesired first, then the personality changes. That's how it actually happens. They've rewritten the narrative by saying false things so much, right? And no one wants to believe undesirable guys, because the halo effect, right? It's the reverse halo effect, the phalo effect, right? Where you attribute negative personality traits to more unattractive people. So you're going to see an undesirable man, you're not going to care what he thinks. Meanwhile, you're going to care more about what the attractive person who's saying that you had a bad personality all this time is saying, right? So they believe that narrative forms because it keeps on being repeated, and there you go. And people are more likely to repeat what an attractive person says too, right? Because of the halo effect, right? So it's just constantly perpetuated, and basically it's like the truth now, right? So even though the truth, like it says here, you were undesired first, then your personality changes. And sure, you at that point you can say, yeah, your negative personality makes women reject you. Sure, fine, I'll take it. You win that one. But it's a lie and disingenuous to say you always had that negative personality. So yeah. And then, like I said, it goes on and says other stuff, and it's just not very interesting. I guess if you really wanted to read it, you can like pause and whatever. Yeah, women. Yeah, opting out of dating. Yeah, no, like I said, not much else. So yeah, that's kind of it for now. So later.